Hi, this is Rika and Coaching Beyond the Fences, and welcome to our tutorial sessions. This one will be on a meeting notes system of communication that we created to help our young organizations to communicate better across projects when we weren't fully developed as a large organization might be. And so this is what we developed and we're working on it, and it's a work in progress, and we're going to evolve it and add your input as you see things that might add value to it. Thank you. Just sit back and enjoy the tutorial. So first, I'm going to uh, share my screen and bring up our shared folders. Okay, so well, okay, one more try. I promise I am clicking the button. Why is it doing it? You're doing something right. Okay. Come on, man. This is so crazy, man. Okay. Well done. Give me a second, guys. I don't know what's up with my laptop. I working pretty hard, and this one is about done. All right. So I don't know. Can you see me doing this at the bottom of the screen when I'm clicking on the screen? Well, right
Yes,
there. Right
yes.
there. Okay.
There you go. Got it.
I got it. So sorry about that. And again, like I said, when you got that grind, you already know. You guys already know. But yeah, so we're in our shared folder. This is the Rika PA folder that we have been using since we have a few projects in PA. Now, to those that aren't familiar with some of our projects and who may be watching this in our um, content location of our website, um, we as a young organization have been grinding, working, doing something we've never done, creating an organization. So we are now in the process of formalizing our communication channels and our structure. And so this is what we came up with. Like I said earlier, we have been had this shared folder. We knew that we've been sharing documents and stuff like that and communicating and commenting on them, but we're going to now make it a mandatory part of our um, culture to communicate through these shared meeting notes. And here, and Kendra will show you in a little while the meeting template that she created that we can add to and tweak as needed, but will help us to standardize what information we're capturing. So, okay, so let me get started. So we're in the Reka PA folder. Well, we're in the meetings folder. Here's the Reka PA folder. We have, the RFP, the org structure. I'm going to go over that in a second. And so here's the meeting. I just gave it two arbitrary names: administrative team and creative team. We have, uh, you know, parts of our team that are doing more administrative type work. So that's obviously why they got that name. And then the creative team that could have had other names, but you know, that team is doing more of the uh, creation of the workshops and the implementation schedules for the facilitators and life coaches for those workshops. And there's people on both teams that do both of these elements, but it just seems like those teams were more composed of that. Now you could have we might tweak it, we might change it. One of my colleagues might say, "No, I think this team should be that." Okay, that's fine, and we'll do that. But for right now, we could go team one, team two as well. So we have these teams, and within these are going to be our notes and other documents that Kendra's going to go over in a little bit. Just quickly, I'm going to go over the org structure, and just to kind of help get our eyes on it. Because I could describe it to you, but if you're not really an auditory learner like I'm not, I'm more of a tactile and a reader, then I need to see it or get my body involved, at least one of them. And so I bring this up so you can see it. And you know, I just want to point out a couple things on here. Go into the folder and look at the org chart, but I want to point out a couple things on here. And one is that if you look over here on this is the creative team over here with these the red dotted lines are the small team meetings. So we have this small team meeting. This is the creative, or whatever name we decide, and this is the administrative over here. This blue, right? Now, this Chris Plone, the transportation logistics coach. We don't have that yet. We haven't created that yet, but we have that in mind. It's in the near future because we think that that's an important element. But these are so we have teams of five, right? Two small teams of five. So that means if we have, and this is the administrative admin, right? They do more of the administrative work, so and logistics stuff like that. So if we have those teams, we have um two meetings in the beginning of the week, two meetings in the beginning of the week, and a one whole team, one team at the end. And this is probably now at this point the most crucial element. And it's really important that these small teams come together and communicate across projects according to their roles what they need to do on these projects, right? And that's when we do that, and we share with each other. We can not only define our roles, positions, structures as a young organization, and our key responsibilities with the help of each other. We've never done this before. We need each other. It's okay to ask help from each other, and in fact, we're going to make it mandatory that you ask help from each other. We have to have solicit feedback from our colleagues. We have to ask our colleagues feedback, and we're going to do it as part of our meetings. For instance, Kendra's the team lead, and she has an intro that she's going to lead out on our next small meeting that will help us to do the things I just said, define ourselves, and um, help each other to get to know each other. We know each other as friends, but we need to get to know each other as a professional project manager or program manager. I don't know you as a program manager or a project manager. I know you as a friend and a colleague and who we've done workshops together and exercises, but I want to know you as my colleague, right? Okay, so we have so just go revisit this, and I just wanted to highlight this is where these meetings are coming from. These two small meetings are crucial because we get a lot more done in smaller groups, and we're breaking down by task specialization and role descriptions, things like that. Okay, now I'm going to bring that down, and I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to Kendra, and she'll take over the share for the description of the document she created, so we can standardize what information we're capturing.
Hi. Hi, guys. Thanks, Jason. Well, you guys know me. I'm Kendra, and I'm the co-founder of Coaching Beyond the Fences and project manager at Rika. And we're going to go over some things and some ways we're keeping meeting notes and how to share those notes and just really keep up with what we're doing. Because it's really important right now. As Kev has expressed, we're flying the plane as we're building that. And I don't want to crash in the air. So let's make sure we land that sucker, okay? So here we're going to the Rika PA, and then we're going to meetings like Jason said. And you have the two folders. It has administrative team and creative team. Now I'm going to go over first the standard outline of the meeting agenda and what it looks like. So you have the date and time, who attended, fill those out, and then agenda details, meeting agreements, and norms. We have it broken down by project. So first is the CTR project, what's being done, what needs to be started and what needs to be finished. And then in each one of these projects, identify like what is your role and what is the role in the task that you need to start and complete for this project. And then really like what support do you need from your team and these tasks? Like just ask yourself that. And each one of these, we have the reentry summit number 2, the DOC rate card, and the Reform Alliance. So I'll show you an idea, and this is how we're going to keep track and go across the board. So we obviously we kept track here. Mianta, Jamar, Jason, Richard, and Kendra were in the meeting, and we took notes what needed to be done, the background checks, everyone going to the ACJ. Munch needed to email the triads as soon as possible, get the facilitators on deck, what needs to be finished. We have that Kevin Munch send the welcome packs, the background checks ASAP. Um, so then over here, you'll notice we've started making notes here. Bianta made relevant notes here. She added Kevin. She wanted to reach out. She said she even tagged herself. Jason commented on a note that I've made. So when you want to make a note here, say you highlight this and you add the note or add a comment. We'll just say sent VIP list to Jason. So then it's seen. So across the teams, we can see that that's how it was done. Now, also, we have an owl generated summary in each recorded meeting that Kevin creates or I create or Jason creates. So I've taken and added that summary into the notes folder as well, just so we could compare with the notes we're taking for ourselves and the notes that have been, created by the computer. So, maybe the computer gets some wrong, maybe we get some wrong. It's always good to compare. Whenever we go to the form, this is your guys' form, what you'll be filling out and what we're going to really be going over and asking yourselves this, add your name, what's your title within RICA? And in this role, what are the tasks that you still need to start? And then what are the tasks that need completed for the project? So you're going to complete and create an action plan. So your tasks that you need to do it, and the actions that it needs to be done to get that task complete. So break that down and add your additional comments. And you're going to have that broken down by each project. And then this is most important here is what support do you need from your team to complete the task? Because as leaders, we all say we're leaders, and leaders ask for help. And in asking for help, we need to communicate. So in order to communicate across the team without having 100 meetings, let's keep this in mind and go to our meeting folder. Kev is going to create the administration team meeting. I've already created the creative team meeting, and as we said, we can already change those names if you want. We have those broken down by folders. Each folder, you can see we have those notes. So I thank you for your time, and I'll stop sharing. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Kendra. Okay, so I'm gonna take us home and then just talk about a couple things and then do a brief recap. So again, um if you think of a name for one of these folders that captures it a little bit better than by all means do that. And we went over the org structure a few weeks ago. We looked at the teams. It made sense then, and there wasn't any feedback or changes suggested then. But if you thought of something or maybe uh, what I would say is like there's a lot of logical ways you can put together, I guess, or structure these teams or this organization based on our gifts and talent. And so there may be one that you find that makes more sense for a certain purpose. And so bring that to the table and let us talk about it. And so and anything, let's figure out how we can continue to evolve our system to be impactful. Now, so with that being said, this communication part, I think is essential. We know in personal life, but in organizational dynamics even more. I read an author that said he had two chapters committed to communication, and one was titled "Over Communicate." And so, you know, there is a possibility to under communicate, but if we over communicate, While it might slow things down with a little bit of inefficiency, at least there won't be information lacking from the system. But we're gonna keep working to get it right. So here we go. So Kendra noted we have these two folders. So say I'm on the administrative team, and I'll come into the administrative team. I will the team lead, which for the administrative team is Kevin, will set up the meetings, call the meetings, and we'll have attendance. There's going to be an accountability structure, which attendance for our meetings will be a part of, and Kevin and Irene and others will be outlining that, and so there will be sign-in sheets or there will be attendance sheets, and Kendra noted or referenced or showed us this outline that the team lead will have and will be taking notes, right? And they'll have it shared on their shared screen and taking these notes, and that way the participants who are in this case the small team members who are sharing out their thoughts, these can be captured by the team lead and can um you know someone can say, no, I really wasn't saying that, and there can be clarification. But the agenda details in a meeting agreement, the first thing that we're going to go over is the meeting agreements and norms, and these are continuing to be defined, and we're going to have a meeting and a session to continue to work on having this so that we're going to read this. This is going to be our ethos, the way we move in our meetings, and we've been doing it. We've had it, and now we're just going to be calling it to mind at the beginning of the meetings. And so we'll do it every meeting, and then we have the like and Kendra laid out. I'm not going to go over everything Kendra laid out, but I do want to point out this: when the team lead is filling these notes in, and they're having that conversation back and forth between the team on the CTR, a running question at each one, and I'm gonna hit copy on this because we're still finishing this document. So add your comments to what you think might need to be captured. We don't want to make it too comprehensive and capture too much. We just said what's being done, what needs to be started, what needs to be finished. If you think that should be in a different order somehow, okay. But a question that every team member should be thinking about while we're doing this and be answering is, which tasks are my position's responsibility? So um, what is your position and what are your responsibilities? We don't know all those. Not, we're defining these things, and we need to do some research though, and we have a few things that we know we need to do, but we need to figure it out more. And we're going to create an operations manual. But the which tasks are my position right now, as we're discussing, you can probably feel that out by what your job is supposed to be doing generally or kinda, and then you can say, okay, this task should be mine, and then we help each other because I might not know, like what that is. I don't. In fact, I'm doing some research on some things now, and I'm gonna ask Kevin later on some things for him to give me his feedback. So what so you're asking about all these things. Is this my task? If it's my task, well, you're doing that and you might assign it into there, but it's going to be in those notes. So what you're going to do later is come later that night or the next morning. You're going to come back. You're going to look. You're going to open up the filled out meetings that the team lead put down. You'll go to this position task sheet. Now, this highlighted part's not down here. This is for this presentation. You're going to go to the position task sheet, and that will be in this folder too. We have to structure it. We got to figure out the structure we want to put this in. And Kendra and I have some ideas, but we're going to ask you some ideas. Do we want to put each facilitator or coach's name in here? And then their sheets are in there, and then they're classified by like date, like or by project. No, so it'd be the person, the facilitator or coach on the outside level, then inside would by each project, and then on the inside of that would be their task and their task plan sheets. Or the other way would be, instead of having the person, each facilitator coach, we could have each project, and then we have each person within each project, and then their task sheets in there. Um, there's probably a number of other ways that I'm not even thinking of. So Kev, everybody, all y'all, think about these things. Who like to organize or are good at it, and when you're done with your meeting at night or the next day, you're gonna look at your meeting notes. Which ones are your tasks? You're gonna take your tasks off the CTR project, what you need to do, what was determined that you need to do. You're gonna come to the position task sheet, and you're gonna fill it out, right? You're gonna fill it all the way out. Now, once you get to this question here, what tasks do you still need to complete for this project? This won't be here. This highlighted part won't here. This is what the task plan sheet looks like, but it's a separate sheet. So each one of the tasks that you still have to complete that you're going to put under this question, you're going to take each one of those tasks and you're going to come to the task plan sheet, the task action plan sheet, and then you're going to break each task down into action items and date completed, right? So it as a facilitator or coach or a team member, you only have two documents to fill out for the notes. You have to get them off one document. And so the only person that has to create three documents is that first person who has to take the notes. And that's the team lead. They take the notes, then everyone else comes, gets their tasks off, goes to the position. Oh, I had a brain freeze. The position task sheet. And so then you break your position down. What's your position and what's your role? What are these tasks that you need to be doing? This won't be here because I just did this for this presentation, so we could go to that. You will take each one of those tasks after you're done with this sheet. You'll take each one of those tasks, and then obviously, what support do you need from your team? Now, what support do you need from your team? Now, that's a great question, and you're going to answer that for this task, or for these tasks. What support? And if your team's not looking at that, if we're not going in and checking out our notes, or we have some method to share this, then it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Because how are they going to support you? Or you got to communicate it to them. You know what I'm saying? So this is going to be our way to communicate. We're going to go look at and check out each other's notes. There's going to be accountability around this as well. So so you complete this, you go to your task action. You take each task that was under each task that's under this question. You go to your task action sheet and you break it down further to ensure specificity and the writing down of a plan to ensure that you're getting these tasks and to help us each keep our eyes on. And if there is a situation like, okay, so like Kendra said, for instance, coming back here, when okay, this is what we plan on doing. Excuse me. If so, going back, that's the process Kendra laid out. Um, if I'm on the administrative team and I've done all these sheets, well, I've had my meeting and I'm in the process of doing my position task sheets and my task action plan. So I do my position task. Now I'm only gonna have one position task sheet, but I might have, if I have 5 tasks, I might have 5 task action. I'm gonna have 5 task action plans. We're only gonna have one position task sheet, but you're gonna have as many task action plans as you have tasks. So I'm the administrative team. I'm doing this part. I've already looked at these notes and I'm starting to fill out these. But I also have to do this. It's one more level. It's one more level. We have to go into the creative team because if we're not going in there, we're not communicating. Well, we have to read what they're communicating to us. They're not going to tell us or shoot us an email. They're going to tell us by when they go in that night, just like we're going to go in our night. When they go in, they're going to be they have the AI or out the AI printout or whatever, but they also have notes like this that they took, and we're going to go read their notes too and make comments. So I might, for instance, so I see this comment strand here. I'm on the administrative team, and so Kendra said she sent Jason a VIP list. So I'm on the administrative team. I will say something like, yes, received. Yes, received. And remind me, what is the deadline? What is the deadline? Deadline. And so something like that, for um people to be able to come, or for outside out of town guests to be able to come. So this is just a random thought, right? And I should erase these because I don't want you guys to answer these. Be able to come, right? Well, maybe I don't know. So be able to come, right? And then question mark, whatever. So now, but so again, I want to turn on. I got to turn on the notifications that every time someone comments, it'll send us a notification in our Gmail or email, whatever one's attached to the shared with. that could be cumbersome. So let's talk about that. I like, well, if we're getting, no, if it's mandatory, we don't need that. If it's mandatory, we're going in there, then yeah, we don't need that. Sorry. I corrected myself in real time. That's what life coaching does for you. This is an aside. We advocate that everyone becomes a life coach. Okay, so coming back to the presentation at hand, though, um, we go through the notes, we look at them, and if we say, well, um, let's say okay, so I'm going to take this one right here. Munch assigned roles for the lineup. I don't know what those roles are, but I'm going to make something hypothetical up here, and please remind me. So, Ken said you come over here and hit a plus. You could also, what I just did is I right clicked. I'm so used to Word, and I right click, and it brings up, and you can hit comment here too. So I comment, and I say, um, well, and what I'm thinking here is like roles. I think this is for the workshop. So you might think you have a better role or a different role that you would be better for. So you might say something like that. But when I'm thinking about the roles, I'm thinking about the roles for us. What we're doing here. So a task, say for instance, a task. Let's go to task. That's the workshop. I'm gonna come off that one. I'm gonna go to a task because I want something that we're doing for the business. Okay, so here's write out process, right? Write out for write process out for peer coach. Sorry. This so the peer reentry coach is Jamar, right? So Jamar is essentially creating this position that we have developed or defined. We defined this position. We created this position, a peer reentry coach. To my knowledge, I've never read it in the literature anywhere, right? So it may be out there, but I have never seen it. So, but we're defining it, and if it's out there somewhere, the position might not. It's probably not fully defined as life coaching is just now coming into its own. So we have to always be thinking like this, like when we're advocating for things, we see things or know things, and we throw them out there and forget that what we're saying is something that probably no one's ever heard because the way we communicate and the way we know this system intimately from a different perspective, we're able to articulate the needs of it and some solutions to some things better than others too. So just be mindful of that because as we do that, we're helping to inform the system and evolve the system. And right here, this peer reentry coach is one of those instances. So as we're defining this position, peer reentry coach, in that process, Jamar's in that position. So that's the position sign. So he's defining it. He's defining. But like I said before, as you know, a system, we're informing it by each other's perspectives in wisdom, um, their lived experience, and Jamar's gonna ask. He's a wonderful facilitator and coach, and he's gonna do the same. I don't know what process he's going to develop to help gather some information from us and others, but I'm going to do it. I just said in my position as quality, um I have some ideas, but I want to find out from Kevin, who's been working in the corporate world for a long time, or from others who've been working in the corporate world for a long time. My sister works quality, but it's quality at a factory. While there is process there, it's obviously not the process. It's not as I will say, as enriching as a process as ours. And she was looking to see if the wood was stained or chipped or whatever, and so then therefore it must have been a broke down in the process. For us, is did we offend someone? Did we follow our ethics? Did we offend somebody? Are we following our communication channels? Are we following our position descriptions and our roles and responsibilities? And what does ACJ or what does the renewal or what does the participant say about the quality of our services as I do surveys and focus groups? And so we continue to evolve the system through their input too. But this peer entry coach, as we're defining it, and I'm defining my position, I need to ask some guidance because I've never done this before. But this peer entry coach is one that is near and dear to all of us. Because what would we want a coach to ask us? What would we want a coach to have available in the space that we're growing with them to help us transition home, right? So think about that. What questions from our lived experience are some questions or some exercises that take priority? So as you know, Jamar is defining that position. He's talking about this process. So there might be, and so he's taking the lead and he's asking his team of life coaches, facilitators, his colleagues, Kendra, Mike, myself, Jamal, yeah, Munch, and Mianta, and Kendra and Melanie. I might have said names twice, but you can certainly call him again to get some clarification. But yeah, so he's leading. Maybe he gets a couple of them, and gets some a little call and asks him some questions, and he starts to define his position, right? And I'm going to do the same. And we all do the same, right? But maybe you see a task on something on this peer reentry coach position that while he could be doing it, it could also be done by the facilitators and coaches or facilitators or people that are not peers. It could be done by a life coach that has a different type of lived experience, but is a task that we can get off of our schedule and onto theirs because we have as we are Rika and Coaching Beyond the Fences, we have other projects and multiple projects and some of these facilitators coaches only have this project, or some of even of our staff have less responsibilities or are not able to maybe execute like me. I can't, I'm not going into the facility to do the facilitation. I have to do virtual work. So maybe I have the capacity to take on this task while it might not be my direct responsibility. I take it on for the team or I pick up the slack somewhere else, or we have to be looking to do that. But for our purposes, if I come into here, I'm in the administrative team. Remember, we're on the notes now, but I come in here and I see a task that I think is my responsibility, then I make a note. I say, well, okay, okay, so write out the peer reentry coach. Um, what what does it mean to be a peer? What peer? Who's peer? Who's peer? This is coming up, and we need to think about this. I think we made the decision to focus on peer reentry, but I feel we have processes that outside of the context of carceral facilities, we can go into others and help the camaraderie build in a peer sense of any kind, colleagues at an organization, right? So that's just an aside. But so who's peer? This is the question I have. Who's peer? So we talk about that. Can it be peers in general? Peers in general, right? So you would ask that question, and then you get some comments. But if I thought it was a role or a task and something here, and I thought it was mine, I could say that. Or if I thought it was somebody else's, it doesn't just have to be yours. If I thought it was, say, if you think it's an administrative person's, or if you think it might be one of the project directors or program directors' role instead of the others, make that comment so we can look at it and then we'll come to a consensus on it. But comment on it, have somebody else reply to it. But we have to be getting in here to be looking it over and responding, be able to evolve the system and further the system. If not, stagnation, as you know, stagnation will set in. So let us commit to this, because in the short term, if we commit to this system where we come every day, we come into the well, Monday, we'll be in it every day, but Monday we have our small meeting, say, or Sunday, whatever you guys pick. You go into I'm administrative team. Well, I'm not in real, but on this call and in this role play, I am. I go in, I look at the notes that the team lead put in. I take my tasks that we have already agreed for each project, CTR, reentry. So I take all those tasks and I go to my position task sheet. And this won't be down here. There might be just the word position task sheet or PTS even, but you go to your position task sheet. You take all those tasks and you answer these questions. You answer these questions. This won't be on there. The tap sheet won't be on there. Task action plan sheet will not be on there. This is for each one of these tasks you answer under this question. You take that and you go over to the task action plan sheet and you break it down. How are you going to get this completed? So this is the type of specificity we require of our clients, and and we know in our lives that this is what works when you break it down, right? In this kind of process. And and this is for only for not only for our own personal efficiency and taking care of business, but also for, and more importantly, that others can see what's going on. Because if we don't go in there and look at the task, you may be doing a task that I'm already doing. And I don't know any organization that excels or thrives or is super abundantly successful that has multiple people doing the same task, the exact same task. So that's where, we can get in problems. Or if it's not clearly defined, we might be thinking that someone's doing a task and they're not, or we might be thinking it's somebody else's and it's not, right? So this will help us to communicate, and there won't be redundancy. There won't be as much redundancy. We'll reduce it, and there won't be as much mistakes or um, missing of things, right? So, and like I said, so we need to. So we'll fill this out. We'll have all our tasks. You may have 5 tasks. You'll have 5 task action plan sheets. Then once yours is done, or once you get that meeting done, that that night you'll go back and take that, start these position task action sheets, and you'll go to the other teams and start making some comments and looking. And this is how we're communicating. We're going there, commenting and looking at it. So this is a little bit of work at night. Maybe I don't know when in your day you want to do it, but a little bit of work, a little bit of note taking, budget some time, and um, once we commit to the short term, over the long term, the increased communication and efficiencies and synergies that come from it, and the organizational culture and dynamics that comes from it, will help us to do more work and reach more people with less effort, with less energy, because we've created this dynamic system that evolves and over communicates when needed. And so let's commit to some ideas, thinking about brainstorming some ideas of how we can continue to make a system that is efficient but not too complex. And there may be some other elements that you want to add down the road of documents that we want to share out on a specific project, maybe a specific document. So let's do that. I am going to back out to the Rika PA, and the org structure is in here. The meetings is in here again. So after your small team meeting, please be getting in the folders to look at your notes and do your responsibilities. And we will have some kind of sign-ins, and we'll have some kind of structure of accountability where we know that you're getting in them and you're commenting, and participating and sharing out, and we'll know when you're not. And so, and missing meetings, we'll have accountability structure there, like we said, as well as ensuring that I love there Welsh. We learned about Welsh in the business school, and he was GE, and he was a guru. But if he came to you and you had and he found out you had an idea, or if he knew or found out you had an idea, and I forget how it went or the culture was, but it was mandatory that if you have a creative idea, and you know how people try and hold on to ideas, and this is how Susan Fogel was when she trained as a life coach. People were thinking about business and making money and things like that, and she's like, let's just give it out. The universe will give it back. And now, we know there's snakes and crooks, and so, but Jack Welch said, listen, we're not doing that here. If you have an idea, a creative idea, and you do not share it with your partner, your colleague, you're fired. And that means that, like, so I don't know if that was his creative way to steal their ideas off him, but no, it was more this, that we trust each other. And we're going to ensure that if you have an idea and you share it, that person, this is why you have hubs like Silicon Valley, why Pittsburgh is a technology hub now too, but and Silicon Valley, because you get people together talking the same language, like peer life coaches, and ideas upon ideas start generating, and ideas that couldn't have came if they weren't talking. And that's why this communication is so essential, because that's what happened with us. That's how we were so successful, because we were getting together in classrooms and talking and communicating and creating ideas, and ideas upon ideas were generating. And that's what we got to do. And despite our until we get this system together, we're going to be overworked and never be able to get it done. So it's like one of those things, we're never going to be able to get it done until we get it done. And so we have to get it done. And then once we get it done, we'll be able to lighten our load a little bit. because if we don't, it's going to be double work and redundancy and missed stuff until we give up. And you know, we don't give up. We fight. And we're gonna get this right. So let's do this. Any questions, any suggestions, please let's communicate those and let's be getting into the folders, sharing out and calling each other out when we don't. And I appreciate y'all when y'all do. That's love. And it's not love when we don't. Let's communicate and build into the future like we did when we've been doing for so long. Take care, be blessed, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye. Have a good evening.